Hey everybody, welcome back. Unfortunately, it's getting a little colder out here. The leaves have fallen off the trees. There's a cold breeze blowing today, and deer season is over. So, all those things being said, taken into consideration, it's time to make sure the camper is winterized so that nothing gets frozen and broke over the winter. So, some of the things that today I'm going to take you through, some of the things that you're going to need to do in order to winterize your camper if you're new to having a camper, or if maybe there's just something you're overlooking, or you just don't want to have to pay somebody to take it to a camper place to have it winterized for you. First thing you're going to want to do, if you haven't done it already, is drain your holding tanks on the camper. Now over here we've got our black tank and rear gray tank drain right there, and then up there in the front, you can't really see it very well, it's right ahead of the rear the front tire, is the front gray tank. After my last trip, we drained those when we got back because we didn't have a spot where we could clean them out on the trip. So as soon as we got back, where we parked on this pad, we actually do have a sewer connection down here. You can't see it at the moment. Gotta dig the grass back, but I'm able to drain it at home, which is nice. So, and in order to do that, to get them all completely drained, we actually blocked up the tires on the other side, backed it up on blocks so that it was leaning toward the drains on the tanks. And then we flushed the tanks as well to make sure we got any crud that was left from camping trips over the season out of the tanks. So that's all done. We don't have to worry about that. Some of the things you're going to need to winterize your own camper, it is helpful to have a power source and an air compressor. Do you need them? No, you don't. But having an air compressor to blow out the water lines is very helpful. Having a power source so that you're not running off of your 12-volt battery the whole time is also helpful. And then pulling your 12-volt battery out, putting it on charge over the winter is also a very good idea. I'm not going to worry about it this year because that battery is on its last legs. It's been in here since we got the camper, and realistically, beginning of next season, I'm going to need to replace it anyway because I can tell it's getting weak. So, for our power source, I've got my Honda 3000 watt inverter generator. Some of the other things you're going to need are some RV and marine antifreeze. I get this Champion at the local Ace. It doesn't necessarily have to be Champion, but the RV and marine antifreeze is non-toxic, so you can use it in your freshwater systems, and it's not going to hurt if you don't get all of it flushed out. Realistically, you want to try to. Now, I also have a 5-gallon bucket because that's going to make it easier doing this with one person using this antifreeze, because I can pump it out of the 5-gallon bucket as opposed to the 1-gallon jugs. I also have my big socket set. That way I can pull the drain on the water heater, which I will show you here shortly. You don't need to have that as long as you have a wrench or a socket large enough to get the plug out of the water heater. So I'm going to get set up for what I need, and then I will bring you back and show you exactly what we're doing with it. First thing that I'm going to do is I took the cover off of the outside access for the water heater. Right down here is the drain plug for the water heater. This particular one is 1 1/16". I've got my 1 1/16" socket, and I'm going to break it loose. That's just a pipe plug. And we're going to try and stay the heck out of the way, because as soon as we get it out, we're going to have a transfer of water. Told you. Now, pull the anode rod out. Realistically, next year I'm going to need to replace that anode rod, and we're just going to let that water heater drain. I'm going to stick the plug down there at the bottom. Now we'll move on to the inside. And if you open up a hot water tap inside, that'll help it drain a little easier. It will allow air in. So we're going to step in here. Oh, and we're just going to open the faucet taps. That way it'll allow air back into the system. Now, while that's draining, we need to go back. I've got you aimed down here because we need to bypass the hot water heater. So if we pull this drawer all the way out, there's releases on the sides of the drawer. Come on. There we go. Now you can slide the drawer out. And it's going to be really hard to see because it's dark in here. But the water heater, hopefully it's showing up, is right down there. And there's a bypass valve. The bypass valve for the water heater is way down here. Oh, I got a feel for it. Oh, come on. All right. Turned it 90 degrees. The water heater is now bypassed. That way, once it's drained, it's done. I can slide this drawer back in. But now that it's bypassed, I can put the RV antifreeze through the water system of the camper and not have to worry about filling up the hot water heater with it, because that's going to take a couple gallons. Now I'm going to empty out this sink. That way, get this sink emptied out. That way, as I flush the system, I don't get all the stuff in my sink wet, and then we'll be back. Now this is where the air compressor comes into play. If you don't have one of these handy fittings, and you don't need an air compressor for this, but if you don't have one of these handy fittings and you're going to use an air compressor to blow the lines out, it's good to get one. It's just threads into your city water connection, just like that. And then you can use a blowgun to gently push air through the system, to flush the water out of the lines. So I just put my blowgun right in there like that. And gently, you don't want to overpressure the lines and cause them to burst. But doing this with one person, it's a little more difficult. I'm gonna have to do a lot of walking around. But while I blow out the line, I've got the taps on this sink opened up. We're gonna pull that plug out. I've got the faucet on this sink open, so as I blow the line out, you're going to see the water come out of those lines. Oh, Lordy. Hopefully at this point, I've gotten all the water out of this faucet. So now I will move back to my bathroom, and I will do the same thing with the bathroom faucet here. I'll open both of those, try and blow that out. Hopefully that has pushed the majority of the water out of those lines. Now I'll come over here to the shower, and I'll do the exact same thing here. Open these. We'll open those, we'll blow them out, and you get the idea. I'll bring you back more. Now that you've air flushed all your lines, you're going to need to find your pump that you would be using if you were going to, if you're pumping out of your freshwater holding tank for your trailer. This is your 12-volt pump that feeds the trailer. This is where the 5-gallon bucket comes in handy. So what we're going to do is, we've got our RV marine antifreeze. We're going to open a couple of these up. Try not to make a mess in the camper. And we're going to dump, I'm going to start with 3 gallons, because generally 3 gallons is about enough to winterize this camper. I generally get 5 just in case. And we're going to pour 3 of them into this bucket. That's going to make it much easier, because then I can take it straight out of the bucket. I don't have to come back here and switch jugs every minute or so. Just make sure you get a good bucket that doesn't have a bunch of dirt in it, because you don't want to pump dirt. You don't want to pump dirt and things into your fresh water system. So a nice clean bucket is a must. Now that we've got that poured in, you're going to go right down here to your pump, and there should be a length of hose similar to this that is down there with your pump that is not attached to anything on one end. This is your hose that you're going to use to pull your antifreeze in. Now you want to try and get it as close down to the bottom of the bucket as you can. Sometimes that's easier said than done without kinking it. Right down here, there's a valve. That valve is going to switch from the freshwater tank to the siphon hose going into the bucket. Once you've done that, you're going to come up here and you're going to turn your water pump on right there. Now, as you open this, the water pump is going to start pulling out of the bucket. You can see there's still a little bit of water left in the lines. See how it's turning pink? That's your antifreeze coming through. Get it so that it runs nice and pink. Let it run for a second. It's not going to hurt to put a little antifreeze down in the holding tanks. Now, if you are not pushing your lines out with compressed air, do the same thing on the other side. See, we got some air. That way, now we're getting the water out of the opposite side. Now, if you're not using compressed air to blow your lines out, you'll have to push more antifreeze through in order to push the water out and make sure that you have a good mix that's not going to freeze in the line. Now we got nice and pink. We'll go back here to the bathroom. We'll do the same thing with the bathroom sink. Now that we've already got some in the lines, it's coming out nice and pink right off the bat. Okay, same thing on the other side. Get that through there. Make sure it's in the lines really well. That way there's no chance of having pockets of water left in the lines that can freeze over the winter and cause the lines to break. And RV Marine antifreeze is a couple bucks a gallon. It's cheap compared to having to fix water lines in your camper. Okay, same thing with the toilet. You can see there's some water coming out now. It's starting to turn pink, and you want to make sure that all the little vents there around the toilet are pushing pink, because you don't want water pockets left anywhere in the top of that bowl where they could easily freeze and potentially break the toilet bowl itself. There we go, we'll go full send on it. And then you can see all the way, they're going to drop you in there, end up down on the bottom of the black tank. That'd be nasty. Okay, and we're just going to leave a little bit in the bottom of the bowl and shut the lid. That way it kind of seals it off. Now, same thing back here. Nice and pink. Same thing on the other side. And then I'm also going to pull the shower wand down as far as I can. Let me set you up so you can see this. I also want to get the shower wand down, and I'm going to activate the shower. Whoop. Oh, come on. And I want to make sure that that hose is also full of antifreeze. That way any water that was in there is out and it's not going to freeze over the winter. And it's running nice and pink, so we can shut that off. I'll push that down, push the purge a little more through there, let that drain back down. Oh, I should have pulled the shower curtain out, damn it. Now that wasn't a very bright maneuver. Okay, I think we probably exhausted the better part of our 3 gallons, so we'll go back and check because we're starting to suck some air. Yep, we're down. Our hose came out. There we go. You can see that's how it sucks it through there. Now, I'll go ahead and run a little bit more through these sinks. That way, I'm just 100% certain that all my lines are well winterized. My freshwater tank has already been drained as we were coming back on the last trip. Once I got within a couple miles of the house, after our last stop, I did go ahead and drain the freshwater tank, and it just drains out on the ground underneath the trailer. Okay, so we're back to sucking air again. Now, I'll go ahead and just lift that up, allow it to drip drain. Whoops, sorry. I lift it up, allow it to drip drain. That pump's going to continue to run for a minute, which is fine. I'm going to reach down in here and turn that valve back over. That way next year when we go to use the camper, I don't have to worry about it. I'll take the rest of the antifreeze that I have, and I'm just going to dump about half of it down the sink here. That way it goes down into the front gray tank in case there's any water left. Any water that's left in the tanks. Oh boy, my bucket's leaking. Damn it. That's not good. Okay, we'll dump the rest down the back gray tank. What did that? Ah, damn. I had a crack in it. So my bucket sprung a leak. Shit. Alright, well that bucket needs to go to the trash. At any rate, okay. Hopefully I didn't get too much of a mess on the carpet. Yep, there's definitely a wet spot. Damn it. I'll have to clean that up. But, okay. Alright, so at this point, you've seen, we've gone through, we've flushed the water lines, we've drained the holding tanks, we've drained the water heater. You should pull your battery out, put it on charge, store it somewhere where it's not going to freeze over the course of the winter. That's always a good idea. Now, rodent protection. One thing that we have done, let me turn my pump off. One thing that we have done that has worked really well for rodent protection are these Downy scent beads. Downy scent beads and dryer sheets. We get these scent beads, and I bought, I don't know, 4 or 5 containers of them, I guess. And we stick them in these little Ziploc snack bags. And then the kids had fun. They put them in the bags for me, and then I told them to take a fork and poke a bunch of holes in the bags. They make the camper smell nice, and apparently the rodents don't like them because, knock on fake wood, we haven't had any issues with rodents since we had the camper. Now, and I put them in the pantry. You can see I've got them down here in our linen closet. Got them in the bathrooms, in the bedroom areas. So I pack them all through the camper. They're in the storage areas underneath, and that seems to work really well to keep the rodents out. There's something about the smell that they don't like, and I've got some hiding around in here. They're hiding all through the camper. Keeps the camper smelling nice. Now, make sure you take a look in your pantry. Go through your pantry, pull out anything that could potentially freeze. And as you can see, we've got more scent beads in there. So, you know, the peanut butter to cooking oil is fine. Ketchup and stuff, ketchup, barbecue sauce, that'd probably be okay. It's got enough acid in it. Now, Miracle Whip, best used by 21 November 23. So, might as well take that in the house and use it. That way I don't have to worry about it. But there's no cans of soda or anything else in here that I have to worry about bursting. You know, no canned food that could potentially freeze and break over the winter. Same thing with the freezer. Yeah, I got a couple water bottles in here, but if the water bottles freeze, they'll be okay. Same with the plastic Powerade bottles. And I'll leave them in there. That way, next camping trip, we need bottled water. And the same with this jug. The condition it's in now, it's not going to freeze and break, but I will set it here in the sink just in case it does. But I like to use that for the coffee in the coffee pot in the morning. That way I don't have to worry about, you know, flushing out all of the lines. I like that. But so that's rodent protection. Make sure you get all your frozen stuff out. This would be a good time to cover the camper, if you have a cover for it, if you're not storing it underneath of a cover. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm forgetting, but I'll go ahead and run our slide out back in, since I no longer need access back there. We cleaned it up nice. All right, cleaned it up nice after the last camping trip. I'll get all the rest of my stuff picked up and out. Let's see, what am I forgetting? I think that's about it. So the camper is shut down for the winter. Now, we could still take it on camping trips. We just wouldn't be able to necessarily use the, you wouldn't necessarily want to use the water systems in the camper, otherwise you're going to have to come back and we re-winterize it. So, just as a recap, some of the bases we've covered are your battery, remove it. Holding tanks, drain them, flush them. If you want to add an additive to them to help them smell good over the winter, you can. That's entirely a good time to do it. Water system, get the water out of it, then get some antifreeze into it. Make sure you get the whole water system full of antifreeze. Drain your water heater. Now, you can leave the drain out over the course of the winter, or you can put the drain plug back in. Putting the drain plug, even if you just screw it in loosely, will keep you from having bugs and rodents get inside your water heater, which is not a good thing. Check your camper for anything that you don't want freezing. Cover your camper and wait for the weather to warm up so you can enjoy it next season. So guys, like I said, hopefully this has helped you out. Do me a favor, please rate the video, share the video. Hopefully it'll help somebody else out. And as always, if you have any questions, please throw them down in the comment section. Thank you for watching. We will see you on the next one.